so
I am
talk about much.
I am
doomed.
playing Outer Worlds.
Okay.
I'm still working my way through that.
I saw they announced the first patch for that game.
Yeah?
And I mean, it fixes a bunch of the major bugs that have been happening.
Okay. I haven't seen.
But there was a note in there about increasing the font size of the dialogue subtitles.
I'm okay
Smart,
with
Which
this.
is, I mean,
Yeah.
sure, but also those are not that's not the text that I was actually have a problem reading.
Yeah, probably.
It's all the UI item description stuff.
A lot of the stuff's pretty small.
And it doesn't sound like they addressed that.
I'm pretty close to the TV, so it hasn't been a problem.
Maybe.
But yeah.
Maybe they'll get there.
That's a
that
fine
game,
video game, right?
That game, the later parts of that game, and I feel like I'm one mission away from finishing it, honestly. And I don't know if that's true or not.
Have you gotten all your companions?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
you can get all them super early on.
Yeah, you can.
But
you can't botch it as well.
Oh, I guess so. Yeah.
I may have accidentally killed Pavrati.
That's the Parvati. That's the big bug.
That's
That's
the big
one
bug?
of the big bugs I was talking about. It's probably the one I've seen cited.
Oh, it wasn't a bug. No, I intentionally killed her. I had no idea who she was. I just walked in there, and that guy was being a jerk, so I'm like, fuck you, dude.
You're saying you exercised your agency in the narrative framework
She attacked me first.
and intentionally removed her from existence.
Yeah.
I see.
Then I found out that she was a cool side quest.
That's cool.
She's pretty cool.
Companion,
I mean, it's
so I
cool that
went
the
back
game
and-
gives you that amount of freedom.
Yeah.
That's true.
Even if you made a dastardly error.
Late game,
I don't deserve her.
Ellie comes into her own in a big way,
Like,
with a
character-wise
lot of
or
character-wise.
ability-wise?
In terms of having her in your party,
Okay.
with the story stuff that happens later on.
I liked her pretty much off the bat.
Yeah, she's fine.
Because you get her on the space station, and that's her home turf, so she knows everybody there.
So that's not her actual home turf.
Oh well, but I mean,
yeah.
she knows the scene.
Right.
I also happened to take her on that little what is it? A little planetoid like asteroid mission where you go save the. There's the kind of. I'm trying like square jawed space captain analog. I'm trying to think like.
Oh right, yeah. So
Okay.
I haven't gotten any of that stuff.
What do you mean?
Like the stuff that quest, that asteroid. Like, I don't think
you
I've seen
haven't
any of
been
that
there?
stuff. No.
Oh, that's just a quest you pick up on
Yeah.
on the space. Anyway, there's I'm trying to. God, what is the character I'm trying to liken this guy to? Like a
Blasto.
like a Blasto.
But that's not even like that's going for the
Who's
same
the guy
type of thing.
Who's the guy from Ratchet and Clank?
Ratchet and Clank. Oh, Quark.
Captain
Quark.
Captain Quark.
Yeah.
You know the type.
Yes,
Like
yes.
the Buzz Lightyear,
Yeah, the
dashing,
fucking actual coward,
square jawed.
but really a coward.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway,
totally.
that was all a long-winded way of saying if you take her on that mission, she's got history with that guy, and
Interesting.
that's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, it's but the thing I'm feeling about the late game is that they really are going out of their way to show how the sausage is made. Like it feels like some of the stuff that we did in the quick look about like, oh man, you can really get down this path a little ways before you have to commit. Like some of the late game stuff seems built to make sure that the end of that game you have a choice.
Huh.
Like it feels like it is starting to throw the bad guy path that we alluded to in my face to make sure it is completely unmissable, so that by the time you could go out your way to not do those missions, and you would have, I assume, fewer choices in the end game. Okay. But it definitely like has changed the dialogue in my quest from go here and do this to go here and do this, or maybe do this, because I did 2 other quests. But it really feels like it's trying to. It goes from like, oh, there's this subtle way of like, oh, you could turn in Phineas in the first 10 minutes or whatever,
right?
To suddenly like, oh, actually, like we're gonna make sure that you see this stuff.
Oh, are you talking specifically about if you go a couple steps down that path? Like
there are other versions of that path. I suspect
that you can still access.
That later in the game kind of get, or in my case anyway, basically got forced right onto me, and it was just like, here's the thing. You should do this.
I'll have to see it for myself, but that potentially the way you're describing it sounds a little disappointing, maybe, because I liked the idea.
That is my take on it. It's a feeling of like, when what we saw is just like, oh well, man, this might change dramatically. To actually, the end game is gonna be the end game.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that it has multiple endings and all that kind of stuff.
For sure.
But I liked when we stumbled into that in the video, I liked the idea that you were having to give something up to pursue that path.
Yeah, no.
Like I like the idea, like, okay, if I turn on the good guys, then I'm pot committed to being a bad guy.
The idea that there are certainly things you can do that would be point and no returns for that sort of quest line, but they let you play both sides.
Okay.
It seems like they very much like want to lead you in this direction. Like, think about the choice you make very early in the game about the where you divert the power, and how that choice is more difficult than it seems. So far, where I'm at near the end game, it feels like very much they want to duplicate that feeling somewhere near the end game. Like the true nature of what's really going on around there is like one big version of that in a sense. I'm just like, oh, okay, there's a lot at stake here, and there's no easy answer. Like that really feels like the thing they're trying to build. I think it's good, but I am a little disappointed with some of the
way it's structured.
Some of the way the structure, like it's literally just like, okay, I'm gonna go by this. Oh wait, no, this whole quest line just got forced in front of me to remind me that there is this other alternate path, and it felt mechanical in a way that the game has not.
If it turns out to be the case that you can get pretty much right up near the end of the game and then like kind of make a hard save and then just pick both sides and see everything,
I'm kind of thinking
that's unfortunate.
Well, that's the thing, is I don't know if it's the end game or not, but I feel like I'm getting up to a big choice point, having looked at the trophies, where it's like, oh, it seems like there's very much a case of like I can just reload this save 3 times and do 3 things,
see everything,
and at least get the trophies.
Okay,
but I don't know if that's going to be the end of the game or not. It doesn't seem like it quite will be, but it seems like the major thing that it's building up to at this stage is that. Okay, and yeah, it's been. I started mainlining it a little bit because the side quests and stuff I think are still good, but this is usually how it happens for me in these games. Like I start out doing all the side stuff I can see, and then at some point the main quest line starts to get its hooks in me a little bit, and I'm like, I just want to see what happens next. Yeah. And then I find myself doing less and less of the side stuff as I go, and that's sort of what's happened here. Is I'm just like running around doing stuff and getting things done, and like there's fun moments all along the way, and there's like there's a fun moment that usually like the end of a game like this is when they like think about how Fallout would build its little static image thing of like, here are all the things you did and what happened. Yeah. Like it's got something. There's something in the middle of that game that like very much is like someone going like, here's all the choices you made, and it's nice. It's neat to see
like
it.
Not even at the end.
Not even at the end. Huh. And it's neat to see it in the context that they use it in. It's actually well done. Okay. But then it becomes like, all right, now we're gonna lay bare. Like that's where it becomes very mechanical. After that, the end of that became a little too. Hey, they're showing all the strings being pulled, all the pulleys and levers, and it felt fake in a way that game has not felt up until this point. So I want to see how it resolves basically, because right now I was like, okay, that was a disappointing turn, even though there was some neat stuff in there.
Yeah, because I had just about made up my mind at this point, like, oh, after the holiday, I will do a bad guy playthrough of that thing because I want to see all the other possibilities. But if it's all sort of contained in the one run,
I wonder. Then, I mean, obviously there'll be like side quests and stuff along the way that I'm sure the bad guy path from the beginning of the game looks different from the bad guy path where I'm at or whatever. But
or maybe you can just finish the game in 3 hours if you do it that way. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe they've got their Far Cry ending in there, just like 10 minutes. Huh. I don't know. It's cool.
Yeah, I really want to get back to that game. Yeah. I left off, I had spent like 15 minutes walking around Monarch after I got there, and then other games started showing up, and I haven't gotten to play it since then. Yeah. Is that the bulk of the game? Like, is Monarch big, or is that a lot of content?
Monarch, there's a lot of content to do on Monarch. Okay. There are big things in play at Monarch. Like, there's a lot of, like, the other thing I had to do, and that game needs a back out of conversation without making a decision button. Yeah, because I got to a point where it's like, where it's like, okay, I have an idea about how I want this to resolve, and then I get up to that point, and it's like, you need to intimidate 75. And I'm like, fuck, I'm 72, and so I had to just reload a save.
Put on the helmet with intimidate on it.
Purposely no. I was far enough off that I needed to go level up, and basically it was this feeling of like, okay, I just did a thing where the thing you would do is turn and talk to this character, but now I'm going to do the thing and then leave this character standing here for multiple hours while I go gain a level and a half.
Leave them hanging, waiting for an answer.
Then come back and start that conversation. I've done that twice. I did that twice last night, and then had another moment where I thought I was doing one thing and it turned out I did another, because I feel like the terminal options were not as clear as they should have been, and it was a horrible outcome. And at that point I was just like, fuck it. It's space. People fuck up. I'm just going to go with it. Yeah.
That's kind of where I've been at, missing speech checks and stuff too. Like, I'm just kind of letting it ride.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was frustrating because it was like all the options, like I went, it let me go down the dialogue path of here's the thing I want to do. And then all the options were like lie 75 per save 75. And it's like, okay, I'm not there with any of them. And so you have to like back out of the conversation.
Oh, wait, you literally could not complete it?
It was like I had to complete it one of the other two ways, which is what I was trying to avoid. Like trying to walk that middle line that is like the hard solution or the whatever solution, the speech check solution. And it just became like, okay, I need to reload and go do this. And that was a little, again, kind of mechanical in a way that game has been pretty good about hiding up to this point.
I could see it. Again, like Death Stranding and some other stuff showed up, which is the main reason I stopped playing it. But also, like, when I got to Monarch, I felt like the introduction of that area was a little kind of forced and, like, I don't know.
It's just
a little more messy or less elegant than early part of the game had been. Like
Monarch is kind of big and sprawling. Well, it's not, the area isn't necessarily big and sprawling, but it's like there are multiple factions at play. Like you take on a lot of different quests from a lot of different people. Like and it is kind of that game in microcosm to a certain extent.
The example that stands out to me is, did you pick up the quest for there's a kind of a murder mystery sort of thing you have to investigate?
Yes.
I didn't get past the first step of it, but like, you're walking by this like apartment building or whatever, and this janitor runs out screaming. He's like, "Oh my God, don't go in there! There's a dead body!" Like, holy shit, I'm losing my mind. And of course, I go in there, and like as soon as you step across the threshold into the room with the dead body, like a quest pops up that's like you found a dead body and have to investigate what happened. And it's like, wait a minute, nobody told me to investigate this. Like, I don't know.
It's just a quest in your log. You could turn and walk out too.
It's more that they just didn't provide enough narrative context that to make it feel
so
organic.
That
like nobody is there telling me to do this, and there's no incentive like in the narrative for my character to care.
I think you did things out of order. Because there is another quest that will lead you to that.
Interesting. Okay. Huh. I wonder if something broke or if that's just a different.
No, you just probably didn't talk to that person first. It's you can stumble upon that body.
I see.
So that might mean if you go talk to the lady about like why all her workers left their positions, you might go like, "Oh, I found that dude. He's super dead."
I see. Okay. Huh. That's just weird that they let you.
It just sounds like a sequence, like a potentially out of sequence or a different sequence, I guess.
Sequence quit. You're speedrunning good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice.
That's right.
But yeah, that's what I've been playing probably most of the past few nights is trying to get through that.
Yeah,
I want to see that through.